Hello and welcome to the Woolsack Cricket Grounds here at UCT, presenting to you in the recording of the Opens and Women's National Tournament hosted in South Africa 2022. It's the Opens final between Cape Town's Mutiny and Long Donkeys from Pietermaritzburg.
First ball from the Donkeys, we have Stuart with a long pull, wind coming from the northwest, which is from left to right on screen. Mutiny receiving.
Dylan Sims gives it off to Dr. Chris Venom, the American pickup. He finds Scott Glennie upfield, who sends one longer to Murray Klein. The two of them sporting some very similar grey hats. This might get a little confusing for us, but bear with us if you do.
Mutiny staying on the open side. There's the break throw, moving this across, but the wind affects the turnover.
Donkeys now on the disc, and Marcel has it in hand. He sends it off to, looks like Pierre, and Stuart Rankin receives the youngster, looking to hopefully make his name again. Second time on the Wild Dogs team. Wild Dogs, obviously the under-24 team for South Africa. Hoping to attend the World Under-24s next year, as play continues. Marcel again on the disc.
Looks like backhand force from Mutiny. Donkeys are just moving it. They were keeping it on the sideline, but turnover, trying to swing the disc there. Looked like an offhand throw.
Again, the wind very evidently in play today.
Already, 2 turnovers in the first point. Peter Ivor picking up. Looks for the break throw, goes open side. Looks like backhand force.
Bird stack from Mutiny, looks to reap some rewards as Jared finds Jonty in the end zone, and that's the first point of the game.
Yeah, hold downwind for Mutiny.
As expected.
So a little bias from the Mutiny team member. I'm sure they missed you a lot during the game.
Well, I had things to do. Dylan Sims now pulls on the second point of this Opens final.
Received by Ryan Martin. Backhand upfield, receives the dump throw from
long from Ryan, and well, that was very direct, a very Donkeys-esque offense there. Dean Norris, I think, receives that one.
Quick hold from the Donkeys. Very direct, as we're accustomed to this style of play. Big pull from Stuart into the wind. Center disc, looking upfield. It's a junk look from the Donkeys.
Yep, very classic Donkeys defense, a zone junk that they throw, 3 up front, 3 sort of in the middle, and 1 back. Very, very effective zone that has proved over the years for them.
Yeah, the Donkeys trying to get Mutiny to throw a lot. The wind has affected the game already with 2 turnovers in the first point, so the idea here is that this 3-person commitment up front is going to force Mutiny to throw a lot and hopefully turn the disc. Big fake.
Murray Klein in the backfield, not often seen there, but finds Luigi, sends it out wide, and they get a bit of forward gain. Jason faking overhead, what else is new? Dylan sends it out wide to Murray again, very tight pass into Luigi, spreading the junk very nicely, it seems. There's some progress at least.
Fake from Murray to, looks like Dylan in the middle, gets some good gain.
Jason and Chris 1-2ing. Someone star jumps, looks like Vaughan from the Donkeys. Very active. Everyone's active, everyone's up for this game. Oh.
Short gain by Dylan, and looking for the dump, gets it.
A lot of progression seems to happen through the middle, past that middle chase person there. As again, Chris finds Luigi and Jason doing a lot of work. Yeah, it's small field gains, but very important. Wide now to Dylan, very quick offload to Jason.
Jason takes a dump, gets it off the line, middles it to Luis, half hammer fake.
I could feel that one.
Swings it to Murray, looks off Luis. Good gain to Dylan.
Right on the end. It's up, and that's caught in there. That's Grant.
Maybe a little risky going over top, but receiver read it well, and a mutiny score.
Ah, way to work. Still evens on holds. 2-1 to Mutiny.
Rob Skelton pulling him through end.
He's left-handed.
Southpaw club representing. Centering to Ryan Martin.
Back to Dean. Dumps it off again to Ryan. And
stoppage of some kind.
Yes, indeed a stoppage.
Fake from Ryan looking upfield. Gets the swing to center it.
He's got Andy in some classic Andy pants. Finds Marcel. Marcel wide to Seb.
Good gain up the line.
Gets it up to Dean. Napier is his surname. Apologies for any.
Turnover. Looks like that downwind throw is affecting. Assuming the wind is getting underneath it and lifting it. It's, I think, the third or the fourth one now, where it looks like an easy throw, but at least to a turn.
That's the third turnover of the game. There've been 2 clean holes before this. We'll see if Mutiny have their first break opportunity here. They can capitalize.
Nice swing by Rob Skelton. Looks like Brent. Back to Robbie.
And Scott unfortunately lets that one go. All the donkeys capitalize. It's very...
Marcel picking up the disc, centers to Ryan. Ryan is looking up fields, not much movement. Gets it to Pierre, it looks like.
very jammy throw. There's somewhat of a
Push
stack
pass.
all over the field as the Frenzels find each other. Pierre to Marcel. 2-2.
Worth mentioning that this is a rematch of the final last year out in Grahamstown, which Mutiny won. So we have to assume that the donkeys want to get some revenge, and we want to see it in the way they're playing this game.
Absolutely.
Dylan centers it, nice little gain through the middle, swing wide.
It's Murray to Jason, dumps it again to Chris. Dylan playing a very centralized
Nice crash.
quarterback,
Yeah,
handler role.
very old school.
Okay,
Swing, centers it back to Dylan, looks upfield to Luis upwind. Big fake from Luis.
to credit Mutiny don't seem to be holding onto the disc for too long at a time. I want to see if I'm a real commentator, and that's the curse. But yeah, no, although they're not moving excessively far upfield all the time, they are at least making some work of this front three. Important to get them moving, get them as tight as you possibly can.
Yeah, at the moment it's measured and steady, but maybe we'll see Mutiny make an adjustment where it's a bit more throw and go as we go through the game, as they get used to the wind conditions and start seeing the holes and this junk look from the donkeys.
Murray on the disc. Dumps it off to Dylan. Back to Murray. A little lose to gain there. As the cup sort of closes in on them. On the sideline out to Chris. Dylan receives. Luis with its swing. It's back to Dylan.
Back down one, Dylan with the throw and go attempt. Good defense there to Murray, to Dylan. Still on the down one sideline. Dumps it. Middles to Luis. Jason calls for the disc.
That's it. Chris receives. Looks low. It's back to Jason. Again.
Big
Still-
camera fake by Jason. Middle
Our
back
cameraman
to Chris.
does not buy that one. As Luis is on it, and Chris now in the central
Not
position.
expecting it. Yeah. I think Luis was looking away already for that one.
Chris,
Some
ball.
miscommunication in midfield. Donkeys have the disc picked up by Ryan Martin. Looks upfield, gets a short under, looks up to Pierre. Pierre dumps back to Ryan. Ryan is still looking upfield, not much happening there. Dumps it back to Stu. Also looking upfield on a downwind sideline now.
Well taken away there by Murray in the underspace, but the handlers work it very well. Pierre's got no real joy there. Looks like Nick receiving very low. He dumps it off to Ryan instantly. As they continue up the right-hand sideline.
the downwind sideline, Donkey's not afraid to work it all the way up there. They do get some movement towards the break side now.
Well centered. Ooh, that's a low throw by
Big inside break by Stewart on the forehand. Get some good gain for the Donkeys in a good position.
One on it now, and that's plucked out of the air. Well done there by Grant.
Read it well. Mutiny back on offense.
So yeah, still no breaks thus far. That was about the closest we've seen 2-1, getting about 5 meters outside of the opponent's end zone. But now there's a bit of space found for Mutiny. Jason goes diagonal.
Yeah, he had to go for that one. The wind pushing it down. Good grab. Kept his eyes on the disc. And keeps possession alive for Mutiny. They're making some good gains. They're almost at the attacking break mark.
Dylan on Mutiny's right hand sideline. There's a throw over if it's a risk to Jason, but it gets there eventually via Chris. Another hammer fake.
Needs some support.
Yep.
Gets it from Louis. Louis looks upfield, not much to aim at. There's a swing for Jason towards the middle, gets it to Dylan.
Some traditionally good Donkeys defense forces them back, but now sniped forward to Murray Klein. He receives Dylan over the top to Louis. Murray on it, almost walking it in.
Nice flow. Nice and tidy towards the end there.
It's a score.
Rob Skelton pulling into the wind. Mutiny on defense. Andy picks up, centers to Ryan Martin. Short gain, pops it to Andy, looks upfield. Short gain again. Push pass gain.
There's more height than distance on these passes.
All on the upwind side this time. Still upwind side. Will it be a push pass again?
I think they know we're playing a drinking game to this.
Yes, I was just going to say that is the drinking game for this matchup. Is
low release backhand classic Ryan Martin throw over there.
Marcel centers or in the center of the disc.
To Ryan Stewart towards the sideline. He also looks low.
Nice grab.
Yeah, but there is a pick called as Grant shows us his mountains.
Disc looks like it affects play. Disc was 2. Looks upfield, swings, short swing to or dump throw to Ryan.
Look inside, but he goes back to Andy instead. Andy now pivoting often. Dumps it off to Ryan Martin. He's about one of the longer. Oh.
Great grab by Pierre in midfield. On a rising disc back to Ryan Martin.
Force ball held there by Rob Skelton. But Donkeys, unfortunately, let it slip right.
Maybe a little force from myself. That's some good flow there. Mutiny on offense.
Yeah, those short pingy-ish throws pretty difficult to receive, especially upwind. I'm sure they must have affected it some way. Peter Ivey on the sideline sort of gets it closer to the center to Rob Skelton, who spreads it all the way wide to Scott. Jared now receiving. Back to Rob.
Don't throw Rob to Peter Ivey. It's a little flat maybe at the moment.
There's
looks
a
like
hand in there from
looks
a
like
hand in there.
Touch there. Lots of faking back to Rob Skelton. Swings it across field.
Dude, looks like Jared receiving.
So this I think is what the Donkeys want. Downwind, playing their junk. Mutiny getting gains or swings, but then stopping. No movement from there. So the Donkeys are taking away the continuations. They're allowing that first throw, but thereafter there's nothing. Hopefully, or we expect to see Mutiny change that. A little flow there, that's a little better.
Yeah, it seems like the second 3 are pinching in quite a bit more. There looks like a lot less space for them as I say that.
Maybe that's the win. Maybe the Donkeys can use the win as the 8th defender and be a little more aggressive on the under continuations there.
I definitely think so. Yeah, it takes the high or makes the overhead option even more high risk.
Or the long throw.
Or the long throw.
Some good flow, a good passage of offense by Mutiny. Rob Skelton looking upfield, swings it to looks like Peter Ivey. Peter looking upfield, swings.
Flat to Scott. There's a bit of a gain to Jared. He fakes up the line. Sends it back infield to Peter Ivey. Right to Rob.
Not much pressure from the donkeys in terms of swing throws at the moment. They're more than happy to allow these lateral throws, even on the sideline, which is maybe a little unexpected.
It's probably the more throws, more possible mistakes.
Yes. Some good game by Mutiny.
Yeah, they seem to take the around routes this time. There's that sort of fourth handler swing is the gain option here, as opposed to looking directly through the middle. As Scott fakes and finds Peter.
Peter's looking where the holes are. Lots of faking. Gets it eventually upfield. Looks like to Scott. Scott in the upwind sideline, trying to get the backhand off. Eventually, reluctantly gives it back to Rob Skelton. Skelly coming across, gets looked off initially, but then gets it, swings it across field to Scott. Nice position by Peter, trying to get that short upfield movement so he can connect the handlers to the midfielders. That's exactly what I want to see.
Going.
Nice play by Peter, showing his experience. Some pressure, good grab by Peter under pressure.
It's a biting. Looks like from Pierre. Nope, that's too tall to be Pierre, it's Marcel.
Good games by Mutiny.
Scott now on it. Swings it wide to Jared. There's a lot of passes in this play. They're being very patient, really proving that they want the break here.
Question of a down disc. Discussion on the field at the moment.
Seems something has been uncontested. We're going to go with it was a foul.
Okay, looks like it was a foul call actually. To Scott, to Peter, upwind, on the upwind sideline. Trying to force a throw through.
The crowd behind us screaming for a hammer.
Eventually, reluctantly again giving it back to Rob Skelton. Rob looking upfield, swings it to Scott. Scott trying to get to 1-2, does get it. Downwind to Peter.
Neat bit of movement there, breaking in and out with those cuts. Just gaining slightly.
Looks off Scott, then gives it to him. Scott trying to get that throw into the end zone, but there's not much movement. The donkey's holding firm for now.
Scott doing those lunges, proving he holds true to his routines.
Throw and go movement from Mutiny now. Back to the center, Rob Skelton swings it to Peter. It's still a little flat. We want some incisiveness. We want to move forward closer to the end zone so we can complete this nice passage of offensive play. There's the movement. Nice movement by Jared. Big fake.
Yeah, no, credit to the donkeys at least for taking this long.
A little hop from Peter.
Peter jump like a frog, yes.
It's called not in. Is he going to smuggle it? No, he's not going to smuggle it this time. Back to Peter, also another little hop.
Lovely little 360 there.
Well, it's like a no-look hop.
Oh.
Well, it wasn't close though.
There's nothing this man can't do. Dumps it off to Rob Skelton from Scott. And that's sent it high. Jared does work. And
foul call.
Calls a foul on Ryan Martin coming through him.
Discussion. Uncontested, it seems. At least that's what Luis is indicating.
Mm-hmm. Murray echoes that call. And Jared is on the
uncontested foul. Dumps it to Robbie. Rob swings to Scott. Scott swings to Peter. Very flat by Mutiny. Back to Robbie. Nice break throw from Robbie.
It's pretty. Jonty is sort of the upfield look in the middle, drifting wide to the sideline, but there's no joy there. It's all congested with white shirts.
Swing downwind. So we're moving downwind, or towards the downwind sideline at the moment. Peter looking to advance it from there, but nothing. Throws Scott then a pause, some throw and go movement. Rob to Scott, Scott to Peter, Peter to Jared. Nearly forced it there. Brought the coach out of me. It's like, don't force it.
It's a very powerful fake, does Jared.
Yeah, very convincing.
Yeah. As he's on it now. Fake Scott off, hits Rob in the middle.
Back to Robbie. Probably the closest they've been in the centre so far, Mutiny, in this point at least. Forward movement, lateral to Peter.
That was a Delightful lefty fake.
It's always a slow motion lefty fake.
As Peter goes high to Scott, and
Underline it looks like, so not in.
still not.
Back to Scott. Upwind sideline at the moment. Still looking upfield. No pressure on the dump throw or the swing throw. Mutiny moving it downwind now. Back to Peter upwind.
And there's a look over the top. Will Rob jump in this time? He shows Peter how to do it.
Nice.
Well done, Rob.
Very patient play by Mutiny. And some good pressure by Donkeys taking away the continuations. The Mutiny team or handlers had to really work for that one.
Absolutely. Credit to the Donkeys for keeping them 5 to 10 meters away from the end zone for so long. So.
Pull from Dylan Sims, disappointingly not as twirly pin. Or pull, I mean.
Yeah. Stu's 2-0 up on him in that game.
Donkey centered, looking upfield. Ryan throws a huck into the wind, maybe unexpected. Good receive too. Half field gain. Very nice play by the Donkeys, very direct.
Especially
pops it back to Ryan. Ryan looks like Stu. Looking upfield, gets that looks like a push pass.
Marcel receives under as
so to Pierre to Marcel. To Marcel
in that order.
Yeah, hammer.
We went quiet there as the hammer went off.
In disbelief, mostly.
And it's received.
I think receiver and defender got at the same time, which is receiver ball. So. Some very direct play by the Donkeys into the wind.
Marcel to POV.
Keeps it enterprising for the sideline.
So yeah, that's an upwind hold. They'll look to probably capitalize from here. We'll see if they can force at least another 200 plus pass point. I didn't count. I just assumed. Rob Skelton in the middle. He's wearing a cap now.
We've got Peter upwind sideline to Rob, who's wearing a cap now. He's quite a few fakes. Mutiny all the way back into their own end zone. Dylan gets a nice incisive throw.
That's
straight through the middle.
That's a good gain, yes, through the middle for a change in this upwind saga. Dylan towards their left-hand sideline, centers it a bit to Peter Ivy, throws it to Rob.
Cap wearing Rob to Peter. Peter swings it upwind to Dylan. It's a little pedestrian. It's not much from the handlers in terms of... There we go, that's a little better. A little more incisive. It's throw and stop, and that's definitely playing into the hands of the Donkeys' front three commitment of players, because they just have to match that. They don't have to do anything more than that at the moment.
Absolutely. Scott going low. Not much support. Push passes at Rob.
Rob looking upfield. Lefty forehand swing to the midfield to Dylan. Downwind forehand from Dill to Scott. He gets a gain to, looks like Peter. Huck from Peter into the wind. I think he shaped that wrong.
That went well out, and at least it went out far up the field, it seems. Ryan Martin.
Do like the look. I think that was the right decision. Maybe just shaped it the wrong way and it
wouldn't
stand field.
And with someone who's capable
as good a
enough
thrower
as
Peter,
Peter, that's very much a dangerous option. It should be assumed to be. There's a bit of comings together in the midfield, but all is restored as Marcel is on the disc now.
Centers to Ryan. Ryan looking upfield to a cutter.
The backhand force. That was shoulder to chest. And now there's a call. I'm assuming.
Discussion. We're waiting for hand signals.
Amicably a non-contested defensive foul.
Ryan to Pierre to Marcel. Lots of faking by Marcel upfield. Really wants to continue on the sideline, it seems. Nice center by Ryan. Gets the dish back from Pierre. Again a short, like a 15-meter gain upfield. Big hammer fake.
Ooh, nice low release there. I think it's from
downwind sideline now for Donkeys. Centers to Ryan.
The backhand forces on as Donkeys flood the open side. Good
crossfield throw by Ryan to no one.
Idea, I guess. But yeah, Peter Ivy collects.
In the right position. Big huck by Dylan Sims upwind.
It's 1-on-1 contest, which
Marcel
Marcel
versus Scott, I think.
wins with positioning and height. Ryan Martin now. It's open in the
Counter-attack
majority
by
of the
Donkeys.
field. Yeah.
Interesting decision.
That's Chris for the Donkeys. He receives after taking one in the chest.
Gain to Marcel, looks upfield. Receiver with both hands out calling for the disc.
And that was not an uncontested call. Vaughan on it now. He's being forced backhand as well.
Back to Ryan.
Quite a straight up backhand force as well. They find it in the open side still. Mutiny not taking that away.
Well, Ryan came through with that disc in the end. Under lots of pressure. Donkeys with the score.
Yes, Chris. That's his first for the game.
Twirly pull into the wind.
3-0 Stew.
Versus Dylan. Good gain too. Almost to the end zone.
Very much. Upwind as well, cheapers. Chris for Mutiny. Sent us to Dylan.
Dylan to Louis. Upwind to the upwind sideline there. Back to Dylan in the middle. Still quite flat by the handlers.
Jason in handler space now does that. And it works.
It's contagious.
Grant receives on about halfway, dumps it off to Dylan, and there's quite a loss on that swing to Jason, who sends it further wide to Luis.
Luis with a forehand fake, looking upfield for 3 or 4 still counts before giving it to Jason. Jason back to Luis. Luis back to Jason. They're going backwards at the moment.
This is, back to where they started. After that good passage of gain, Dylan Sims swings it in field. Jason on it now in the middle. Finds Luis with a little bit of a gain. Vaughan on the disc there. Out wide to Dylan Sims.
Mutiny going around the outside of the commitment of players by the Donkeys. They're in the downwind side now. Nice look by Dylan. Downwind looks like to Murray maybe.
That's to Murray, yep.
Back to Dylan, I think. Still downwind sideline, centers it.
Calling for that throw and go. It's just a bit slow there.
Big hammer by Jason.
Threw a hammer.
3 Donkeys versus 2 Mutiny players.
That seemed to get caught going upwind. That's an unfortunate decision. I'm sure they did not want any of that happening. Seb on the disc now for the Donkeys. He throws one in field, but it's missed by his receiver. Looks like Nick. And Dylan Sims picks it up. Back to Jason, who's caps backwards now. There's a lot of cap action going on in this game. Dylan, back to Jason. He fakes the hammer this time. There's no level of cheek on this man that can't be counted. Luis finds a good infield pass inside.
Nice incisive pass by Luis to the middle.
Using his fakes well.
Chris to Dylan. Dylan looking upfield. Nice forehand to Murray.
Sends it infield. Jason dumps off to Chris. Chris to Luis. Fakes again.
It's a good play by Mutiny.
Again, dump off to Luis. Jason now in the middle. Searching, looking for that. Some incision. Dumps to Luis. He sends it out wide. That's Dylan Sims on the left-hand sideline. Back to Luis. There's a swing option. It's Jason. Mutiny now taking the time again.
Good flow. Chris to Jason. Not forcing it, which is what we want to see. Keeping it going.
The agile dump.
Good positioning by Dylan.
Dylan moonwalks it in. That's. I'm sure they'll be happy after.
With the head spike. Good thing he's wearing a cap.
Oh, can't go anywhere without those these days.
He wears a cap even at night. True story. During night games at least. Pull from Rob Skelton, good gain. Donkeys moving it quickly. Look like they want to score this quickly and get back onto defense.
Ryan fakes and finds Marcel inside. Scott giving him the under there. Seb receives under. There's a lot of open side under gains from the Donkeys. Dump straight off. Andy with a high release.
That stayed airborne for a lot longer than I expected.
Very pretty.
Great flow by the Donkeys.
As Stu scores.
Big celebration.
Yeah, no, very respectful spike.
Of the disc.
Of the disc. Marcel with a pull. It also looks long, good hang time.
Great hang time.
And Chris receives.
Sent us to Jared. No, that's Dylan. Dylan looks towards Scott. Sends to Chris. To Scott via Chris. Gets it there eventually.
Yeah. Everything goes through America these days. Chris receives.
Had a stopover flight. Back to Chris in the pocket position. Scott swings it to
That's Jason.
Jason. Dylan very isolated on this upwind sideline. If they can get that swing off, it's a nice gain.
Upwind, they might be thinking about it, but Chris refuses to
Good
look.
incisive throw to Murray, to Dylan. Dylan with the
Blady flick that Ryan
ultimate throw.
very prettily D's there.
Donkeys want to get it going quickly, and they do.
Marcel finds, I think that's Dean Z to Marcel, who trudges along. Unders gain here, back to Dean N to
Classic
Dean
Donkeys play.
Z and Chris. Yes, no, that was
Lots of hard undercuts, receive, little dish to the handler, and then some flow from there. Very nice play.
and that's a break, and the Donkeys are up.
Rolling pull.
Good.
Rob has seen one of those before, he stops it.
Yeah, no long barrier needed. Wow, experience.
Yeah, the cap definitely helps.
A little
Peter to
short
Scott gets looked off.
interplay between the two of them.
Looks off Scott and throws it to Jonty rather.
On the
Gets it back.
left-hand sideline.
Lots of faking.
Again, two players from Mutiny right on the sideline here.
Still on the upwind sideline.
But close
Like the
marking
Donkeys
there
are
by-
making the swing throw a little more difficult. Turnover. Good D.
That's a D by Chris on Peter Ivy. It's a nice
Immediately
hand block.
sends it. Ryan
Will he get 2 and 2?
Turnover.
Nope. That's good D by Jared.
Maybe a little too forced up the sideline there. Same third, 4 people in that space. Peter moves it up to the end zone line quickly. No options though.
Down
good.
to Rob.
Rob behind him. Rob assessing. Some good fakes, moving the defender.
But there's absolutely not much help. Scott now on it as they get pushed further and further back into the end zone.
Mutiny in their own end zone. Some pressure now. Big swing throw. Gets... turnover.
Really nice look release. I think that's Josh with, unfortunately, his first action of this game.
That
Push
was
pass
up.
again. And there's a call.
A pickle, I think. I saw 2 hands raised.
That might be, possibly an up call even of the disc. But yes, it seems the Donkeys.
Ryan looking upfield, not getting any movement there. Gets it back to Marcel. Marcel looking upfield too, also nothing. It's a good defense by Mutiny. Playing man match or person match. Break by Ryan.
Chris elegantly puts one to someone. I think that's Marcel, and Chris receives again. He gets his second in a row.
Good holster by Marcel initially, not to throw that first one. Defender committed, and then straight to his teammate and receiver.
So a double break, it seems.
Done with the pull, also still not a too early pull.
That was half time. This is the second half now.
Andy with the disc. Let's get that elevator backhand downwind.
To Stu in midfield, he receives. Marcel with another reasonable undergain. Pierre with another reasonable undergain from Ryan. Marcel
It's
again.
the Donkeys machine. We've seen this for years. It's
70.
great offensive flow. A bit on the disc by, looks like Dylan on an under. Keeping the pressure on.
There. Stu running through the disc while in that situation. Seb receives at the sideline. Seb receives something else on the sideline. Looks like a headbutt.
Dump to Ryan. Ryan looking upfield. He has a swing option, but decides to go to Marcel. Marcel on the downward sideline centers, or almost centers it to. No, that was not Marcel. This is Marcel. Seb.
Our camera person doing some great job following that disc all the way to the end zone and almost a score. But no, that was a good D from Jared. He's very athletically
Turnover.
unchallenged. Turnover indeed. It's in the midfield.
Only if the cameraman kept the disc on the handles, we would know who was responsible for the turnover.
Biggest sin of this point, there's a cap lying in the middle of the field. What is going on?
Marcel in the middle, push pass, and you have to drink.
As Stu almost takes Seb's ankle out with that spike. It's up. 8-5 to the Donkeys. That was a hold from them.
Big Paul centers it to Chris. This looks like to be the downwind line. Chris to Dylan. Dylan trying to get it to Scott. Does eventually. Scott looking for Luis. Great grab by Luis. Disc moving away from him.
Forward as well. That was delightful.
He's played frisbee before. Swing by Dylan. Push pass fake. You don't see that every day. And then throws a push pass.
Jesse gets the commentators going.
It's just never know what to expect from the player.
And Dylan Sims lets that one go. Marcel did good D. That option possibly not the most on. Grant doing some work in backfield there on Stu. That's really well done to stop that dump going off. As Marcel's on it again. He looks upfield. Fakes.
Gets a gainer. Looks to be Stu. Stu looks upfield. Back to Marcel. Marcel centers it.
That's Dean on the disc now. Dean Z.
Swing throw to Stu. In the middle of the field. Some good defense by Mutiny. Putting a lot of pressure on these unders. And then Pierre gets an under. Dumps it back to Marcel. Marcel, big fake upfield.
Yeah, the cuts seem to happen a bit more sporadically now. Possibly some tired legs from the Donkeys again. A credit to Mutiny's defense for making that happen. As a timeout is called. And we're back.
That was very quick. Very
good. Very respectful for the rules. As Pia flies. And
I have to wonder if that was a play. Because it looked like the play on the sideline, the offensive player upfield moved towards the disc and then Pierre from midfield went across to get that score.
Yeah, I know. Timeout reaps rewards. Donkeys break straight after half time.
Big pull. Out the back. We moving it up to the break mark. Looks like Chris moved over to the upwind line now.
To the giant X where the treasure is. He finds Peter on a dump and Peter works his way to gain a little bit. Scott jumps through, dumps it off to Chris. Chris spreads it wide. Rob's scalping on the left hand side now. He fakes into it and Mutiny dump it off Chris and Rob here on this left sideline. Murray now receiving. Chris from the Donkeys throws a boot up, but it's back to Rob.
Rob really wants to keep it on this upwind sideline, and then Murray ends that game. Centers it downwind. Let's see if Rob does it again. Yep, upwind. This is Rob's game. Maybe the cap, who knows. Peter is also participating in this upwind game now.
I think.
Is he gonna swing it?
Under duress here.
It's gonna be upwind. Yes, it's gonna keep it. Yes, he does keep it on the sideline.
He does.
Peter decides to center it a little bit more to Chris. Chris to Scott. Scott in the backhand pose gets it to Chris. A great grab under pressure
from Murray there. Yes.
Great grab by Peter.
Who fakes a hammer, and it's very nicely worked
through and go. Nice play by
movement.
Mutiny. Very incisive. This is what we want to see.
And it's ended there by a little foul, it seems. It's resolved pretty quickly and amicably. The Ivy.
Dump to Robbie. Robbie looking upfield, but there's no one in the middle there.
Try and go from Rob. Not successful. Peter
with a double-handed fake.
A shovel.
And then eventually relents with a dump to Robbie. Mutiny going backwards.
After a bit of...
Scott really wants to gain. Gets it to Rob right next to him. Dumps it back. It's like 2 meter movement. 3 throws and we're moving backwards. Swings it to Peter. to Chris. Nice gain by Chris. Very incisive. That's
Jonty on it now.
yeah, Jonty with the holster looking off Peter. Back
Hey.
to Jonty. Very nice play to Peter. Nice gain.
To Scott shouldering his way through. Looks
Rob
like
still
Field.
wants the upwind sideline. Is he gonna get it?
Willy.
Nope. Goes back to Chris in the middle. Downwind. Back to Peter. Fake from Peter.
Potential for a
Decides to go
swing
back.
gain as Scott receives in the middle from Chris, and now it's in Peter's hands. He dumps it to Chris, who finds Peter again. Murray running to that sideline, receives it very nicely. Probably look to get it off there. He does. Chris now faking.
Pressure from the donkeys. Good grab from Scott to Rob. Back to Scott. Faking. He really wants to gain forward. Rob upwind sideline.
There's a man open on the far side, very far side. It's Murray, but he's
Calls Chris closer. Gets it to Chris via Scott this time.
really lented. It is Chris now.
Chris also calling people closer now with a little hand gesture.
Peter Ivy a bit further upfield.
Pop to Chris. Chris to looks like
Rob.
Robbie.
Yeah.
Rob to Scott. We think that's up.
It's called up by Jared and the donkeys. Donkeys again applying this great pressure towards the end zone, really forcing this white line fever to come in, and Chris from the donkeys flies again.
Commits to stop that backhand break.
Murray has his hand up on the far side of the end zone. The crowd
Swing
is
throw.
screaming.
Gets the gain now. Still looking upfield. No swing option at the moment. Gets it to Peter.
We look for that. Chris doing really well there actually to take that swing away to Scott. The donkeys front three really working hard here. Chris to Peter, not Scott. He calls for some gain.
Gets the pop from Chris. Chris trying to get some movement. Throw under pressure. No call. Turnover. Expecting the donkeys to send this long.
Yeah, no, well done by the donkeys there again.
Let's go Mutiny!
Centers it to Marcel. Marcel with the gain to Pierre. Pierre to Ryan. Ryan looking upfield. He has someone jogging under open.
Very open. Chris eventually gets to Dean there.
Turns it.
Yep.
Some tired legs maybe. It's been a long point.
This has been, yeah, no, don't blame him. Dean's, I think, one of the front three as well, so he's been running his...
So Darren, I mean, this is Mutiny is your home team. What do you think the leaders are discussing? Being 5-9 down, these points are really long, and this is, I mean, they're gonna have to get these upwinders. What are the kind of discussions that the leaders are gonna have or are having about reading the score in and containing it again?
Yeah, I'm sure it's all got to do... I think time is by far the biggest factor. The donkeys, I think, are truly, even if they do concede this point, will be very happy that it took almost or more than 5 minutes to score. It's just 5 minutes knocked off the clock for them in a very comfortable lead. And they can, I guess, just continue racking up the downwind points as efficiently as possible. So I think that short stretch now, just after halftime, has really put this game in the donkeys' hands. I think Mutiny leadership would want to speed this up as much as they can. So whether that's forcing a bit more risk, which clearly they're still playing very composed and chilled, handler resetting ultimate. Maybe that changes soon. I'm sure that
Not in. Some incisiveness there. Nice movement from Peter
Yes, Mutiny!
to Murray.
It's already there.
Dylan,
Flick pull, and
Flick
there's a
pull.
hardy die as well. Oh my.
unexpected. We didn't make rules for that in the game. We're gonna have to have the committee decide what punishment is for that. But back to frisbee. Donkey's getting it moving.
And that's
Elevated
a
backhand.
junk look here by Mutiny. It's like
Yes.
a diamond junk.
Mixing it up. Maybe this ties into what we just discussed with the Mutiny leadership. Maybe thinking to throw something different in defense. Maybe getting it, forcing a turn with the donkeys not expecting it. Something of the like.
Yeah.
A call. Marcel has the disc. Back to Stu with a massive backhand fake. Swatted at least 4 flies and 3 mosquitoes.
But no hard.
Doesn't throw it though. Back to
Um,
Stu. Big fake again. To Ryan.
If fakes could speak words, those would be some long ones.
They go shh.
Andy, over the top. Ooh, well
Ryan
collected by
runs it
Ryan.
down.
Mutiny forcing donkeys back for a change here with their junk look. Stu fakes low, and it's off to Ryan into the sideline with Andy. Will he go over the top? No, dumps off.
Suppose the donkeys can afford to take their time with these because this is eating up the minutes. I mean, you made the point how important time is at this time.
Yeah.
I mean, all these long points are playing into the hands of the donkeys.
So this looks Seb off in the middle. Seb's
So
so very
basically-
activated.
Time to whip out the 7-person junk, right?
Dylan just scoping in the backfield for Mutiny as Andy receives, and Seb goes tumbling again.
Contact with Luis.
Yeah, that's a losing game. Call seems to be resolved, and Ryan Martin's on the disc.
Mutiny midfield is doing well in terms of defense, stopping the continuations, similar to what the donkeys have been doing with their defensive look. Forcing the donkeys to make throws like that.
Yep.
Or maybe they just do it anyway.
No, push pass force on in this game. Dean N receives and dumps off.
Big fake by Andy.
Centering to Marcel. There's a bit of a game there to Stu.
Some throw and go movement by the donkeys now.
Marcel out wide to Ryan.
Downwind side now. Centers it to Stu. Big gain straight through the middle. Nice work by the donkeys to handle it.
It's Dean's second reception there. Second dump off at this point.
Blade, forehand downwind. Brave throw. Big gain through the middle there. Looks like the donkeys are figuring out this Mutiny junk defense, or maybe the defense is just getting a little tired now.
Yeah, I know. That's the third one. Two in
Turnover.
succession, and I don't know.
Maybe Ryan just took his eyes off the disc there.
Mutiny forcing that one, I guess, through the swings. As Dylan trods up, scoping his initial options out here.
Donkey's going junk look. Oof. Peter nearly taking it in the face, but does catch it. Gives it back to Dylan. Dylan can feel lefty fake. Backhand to Peter, downwind sideline gain. Back to Dylan with a little hop.
It's contagious.
Little pirouette hop. Back to Jason, it looked like.
Let's see if we can hit a 180 next time, and we'll get the judges going. Dump off. Peter Ivy.
Luis isolated upwind, calling for it. First with his left arm, then his right arm, now left arm again. Some good gain to Brent, it seems.
Yeah, that's Brent on the far side.
Dumps it back to Dylan. Dylan on the sideline.
They're still very isolated. But
Gets the
a
center
risky
throw to Peter. Peter to Luis. Nice patience by Mutiny. And incisiveness. This is what we want to see. Good play. A little hop by Peter. Gets it to Brent in the middle. Very nice. This is, I think, how Mutiny will reel it back in with this kind of offensive play.
Yeah.
That was a quick score as well, compared to the others. Robbie with the lefty pull into the wind.
Yeah, it's upwind for Mutiny now. Donkeys, see if they play the time game here or the points game. Andy on it.
Dump and a swing.
Again, the junk look from Mutiny and bypassed with the wind this time in Donkey's favor.
Marcel with the disc.
Ooh,
Looked like
is it a bit of
Mariana
a
touched there, or Scott, whoever that was.
Yeah, Scott.
Yeah, touched by Scott, but still gets to the receiver.
Jared does a good job flaring there.
Andy
just
to
up
Ryan, Ryan to Stu, thinking about the hammer, thinking about the blade. He's still in the blade. Throwing position, does throw forehand under pressure.
as Chris flies next door to Marcel, and the Frenzels connect again. It's 10-7 to the Donkeys. Jason with a half a step over. Finds Pete, finds Chris, back to Pete and Jason again. Push pass fake.
Jason centers it to Scott.
Nice look there by Chris with the swing gain.
Big backhand fake to Peter on the downwind sideline. Back to Chris. Swings it to Scott.
Again, good defense there by Donkeys. Chris to stop the swing getting off to Jason. As Mutiny work it down on the far sideline, I guess.
Too quick for the camera, but he does catch up eventually. Still forward movement. Oh, big layout D from Stu and a big celebration to match. Goodness, some good flow by Mutiny, maybe just forcing it towards the end there.
Yeah, no, and credit to Stu, that was big play. I think Mutiny had a lot of momentum going through there.
They were already thinking about the next point, already thinking about pulling. All the flow was there, so really nice defense.
Yeah, no, way to rock them, Stu. There's a call.
No hand signals. I can see. This guy's tapped in. Marcel with the disc looking upfield. Two cutters at the same time coming under. Wind affected the throw. Maybe a tired throw. Has been a lot of work from Marcel in this game already.
Yeah.
Centers it to, or almost centers to Peter. Peter looks off Scott, then eventually throws it to him.
Scott with a lefty fake.
Wants to throw to Peter.
Settles for Jason.
Backwards and backwards again. We're with Chris now. Chris to Scott, gets the gain to Peter. Peter looking for the lefty throw infield.
It's up and
Gain
over
it
to
to Scott. Looks for it, thinks about it.
Nick trying to, as hard as he can to prevent something going over again. Makes its way to Pete. Pete to Chris. There's
Jason in the middle.
Acoustic interference here. Chris, incisively.
Nice, very nice throw to Peter in the middle. Once again, that completion.
Jason, no quick throw, but there's a call. Seems a bit of contact in the midfield. Jason should still stay on the disc. He does. Dump option.
Fakes the push pass.
Chris.
Back to Chris. Chris to Peter in the middle. Big fake from Peter. Looks off Murray. Sends it to Jason. Will it be a hammer? Will it be a push pass? It's a dump swing.
Uncharacteristic.
Yeah. Back to Jason. It's going to be a blade. No, it's not. Not
fake.
yet. Oh, it's a scuba.
That works.
Gets it to Brent. Not sure Brent was expecting it, but he did. He did get it. Where he gets paid the big bucks.
It's a pull from Rob, and it's picked up by Ryan. Ryan finds Stu in the midfield. As there's some action going on upfield, Marcel has a long undercut. Eventually on it. Not too much upfield, but there are.
To Andy, will it be an elevator backhand? This high release backhand, good D.
Peter runs through Pierre there, and there's no call. Very adamantly from Pierre.
Peter being a leader on this team, or at least he was last season. That's what you want to see from your leaders, leading from the front, showing an intensity you want to see, creating that turnover for his team.
Yeah.
And now looking to go score quickly at 10-8. Mutiny definitely still in this game. Nice swing from Dylan, centers it to Luis, forehand fake, to Peter, to Luis, to Rob Skelton in an advanced position, to Luis,
Walking it through there.
very direct through the middle, looking good, to Peter.
Again, quick. Here's some quick hands from Mutiny.
Force
Taking
throw.
what they get.
I think Peter did get under that, he did, it seems.
But he's in agreement there.
Dump to Rob, fakes the swing.
Luigi again isolated here, but it's a bit of a riskier throw going upwind. Even with someone
Rob with the dump to Dylan. Dylan to Rob. Rob communicated something, nothing changed.
look inside. Now
Back to
Luigi
Dylan.
gets looked off again, as it's with Peter on the far sideline.
Peter wants that throw to Luis.
Will probably-
Good positioning with Andy by Andy on defense, taking away two there with his positioning.
the Donkeys.
Using the wind as the eighth defender very successfully. Then they do get that reprieve.
Peter with another one-handed grab as he jukes and Bob's and
Peter dumps
Bees.
it to Robbie. Robbie to Peter. Still a lot of movement, not a gain.
Yeah, Donkeys again.
Contested gain.
Doing well to slow down Mutiny's mild progress in this point thus far. Rob swings it off, eventually lose on the disc here. It's a dump, and Rob sneaks one through to Peter. There's some nice gains again. But 2 or 3 pass flows just to get that 10 meters now.
That's better. That's nice play by Mutiny. Seems like there's a few holes now. Maybe the commitment of players by the Donkeys getting tired, maybe. Because we're seeing those incisive throws a bit more often now. Rob on the upwind sideline, which we know he favors from all the evidence from this game, statistically.
Yeah, one long point will do that for you. Dylan into Louis, finds Pete.
Great positioning. A push pass fake, and then does throw it to Dylan. Dylan with the backy fake towards the far side, gets it to Louis. Louis holsters, gets it to Peter, not in. He didn't jump this time.
Yep,
And to Junty.
He didn't need to jump.
Yeah, and he didn't have to move much. Great play, straight through the middle. Not something we've seen that much from Mutiny thus far. So maybe that's, again, an adjustment discussed by the captains, and we're seeing the difference from that.
Yeah, as that's a pull that goes long, too long. Roll out. It did roll out. They take it from
Front of end zone. Junk look by Mutiny.
as the swing gets off there. to
Great,
Stu.
great throw by Stu. Great vision getting it to Marcel.
Yeah, good control upwind. I think it's a diamond junk look again. Murray and Dylan chasing. Murray gets the Andy there. But there's a bit of a
The
big
wing
gap
not
the
being in
middle.
position there to take away that swing option. The wing not covering deep or under really. Good center by Ryan to Andy. Andy with a nice gain. Pop throw to Stu in the middle, or on the sideline I mean. He's looking for the middle throw. He gets it to Andy in a dump position. Andy to Marcel it seems. Dump throw to Stu. To Andy, holsters to Ryan, center this time.
Jason covering that look inside of Mr. Nick. But Donkey's still working it through the 3-4 handlers over here.
Yeah, looking very comfortable. Nice play by the Donkeys. Looks composed and measured and in control. Back to Ryan in that quarterback position you spoke about at the beginning of the game. Uses Ryan as the decoy, Stu, to throw it to Andy. Stu with the backhand fake. Nice throw to Ryan. In the middle, Ryan with a nice gain.
That's well found. That's Nick on the far sideline. He dumps it off to Marcel.
Blading throw by Marcel for the score.
Yep. Another one for Dean.
Nice offense by the Donkeys.
Yeah. Ooh, 2 ahead. 11-9.
Ryan using the wind with his pull. Very nice.
Elegant look. To Dylan Sims to Peter Ivey. Fakes both ways.
Looks a little more urgent now in terms of play by the handlers. Great throw to Luis. Luis to Peter.
As we take a bit of a rocking.
Yeah.
It's back to Dylan Sims on this near field sideline. Scott infield and Rob doing some 1-2s. It's slowed down again. Peter Ivey finds Scott. Scott breaks.
Dylan, very flat. Luis running all across the field for this upwind sideline. Fakes, holds onto the disc.
Very
Is a call.
awkwardly. But it's resolved. Peter now
Disc stays with Mutiny.
in the midfield. Bit of a lumpy forehand to Scott. Gets it back to Sims, gets it to Rob. And Donkeys pushed them back very comfortably. There's a bit of a
Nice movement by Dylan. That's what we want to see. We want that throw and go movement. Make the Donkeys defenders work a little more. Back to Peter.
A bit of a tight spot. Will Rob try to pivot out of this one?
Crashes from the back. Dumps it back to Peter. Backhand fake from Peter. Wants that throw upwind to Scott station there. Dylan to Robbie.
And yeah, Donkey's doing
Lefty.
what they need to do, slowing the game down. It's all in their hands, despite the tight score. Mutiny will probably want to get this off as soon as possible. We don't know if Cap's been hit yet or not.
Luis with a nice gain back to Dylan, downwind sideline.
It's a dump off to Rob, fakes hard, and
Rob seems to favour the downwind sideline for now,
this is
messing up our stats from earlier in the game. Nice back or forehand lefty towards the middle of the field to Luis. Luis gets a gain to Jonty. Jonty with the fake on the backhand side, dumps it to Luis.
Rob very tightly in there, fakes Peter upfield, stalls on it, and gets the throw eventually.
Losing some yards.
Jared coming back to help. He bounds his way through, fakes inside, and finds Dylan Sims. Dylan dumps off to Rob. Nice
Pushing the tempo a little bit,
go.
favouring the downwind sideline. He wants that forehand across the wind, it seems. To Peter stationed. Peter's calling for it.
And yeah,
I think the wind maybe picked up. It seems like the handlers are not trying to get it through the middle now. They're just going backwards.
yeah, no, all that winning and losing. Well, Donkeys again can't up. They're slowing commentary down. That's how good they're doing. Finds Peter in the midfield. Swings it off to Scott. There's half a look to Jonty, but he goes in field to Peter. That's the look
Jonty
to
with the
Jonty.
grab. Nice work.
He does. Scott on it
Fake from Scott.
to Rob.
Rob holsters the swing that he initially was looking for, it seems. Still looking upfield.
Peter finding some upfield space.
Crash from Dylan to Rob to Dylan. Under pressure from the defense. Big swing.
There's Peter.
Continuation.
And
Turnover.
unfortunately,
Good defense by Marcel.
yeah, no, where to hustle.
Recovering, putting pressure on that last throw. Looked like a dead-on score and good defense.
Nothing more to say. There's Pia on the disc now. Into Stu. Stu fakes Ryan and gets it off to Marcel in big under open space.
He's gonna send it, is he? No, he's not. Stu with the deep cut.
Yep.
A good grab, a little roll at the end too, like a covers fielder in cricket. Gets up immediately, ready to make the throw.
Oh, Parker. He doesn't play football, really. Ryan Martin now centers to Marcel again in some under space here. Stu and Donkeys doing what they do and making use of the unders. They obviously
Good cut by Ryan, getting some separation.
Seb now unfortunately lets that one fly out and didn't come back in, so we're back where we started. Peter Ivy now swings off to Scott.
Turnover.
Unfortunately, the second one there for Scott. What will Donkeys do from here? They've got a bit of a gift horse.
Hammer.
It's Chris again, as someone like Marcel falls. And hats are off. That seems to be the final score. Donkeys 12, Mutiny 9.
Reversal by the Donkeys from last year, not in terms of scoreline, but in terms of result. Donkeys coming down to Cape Town to beat the home-based team, defending champs. Maybe a little unexpected with the Cape Town win, maybe possibly favouring Mutiny. But I think the Donkeys wanted to win this more.
Well, that's all from us. Thanks, Corn, for joining.
Thanks, Darren. See you next year.
Yay!